Right then, you lot. Today, we're celebrating a momentous occasion. It's the 125th birthday of Fiat, from humble beginnings to iconic cars on our roads. On July 11th, 1899, a bunch of blokes in Turin started making cars. Under Giovanni Agnelli, Fiat became a powerhouse, making luxury vehicles to nippy runabouts. Buckle up, we're about to embark on a journey through Fiat's remarkable creations. Every carmaker has to start somewhere, and for Fiat it was the 3.5 HP. Built in 1899, it was basic. Power came from a 0.7-liter two-cylinder engine. It reached 34 kilometers per hour. Double leaf springs all around, coach built by Marcello Alisio, and a face only a mother could love. 4 of these early Fiats still exist today. Right, from humble beginnings to something altogether more powerful. This is the 1904 Fiat 60 HP packing a 10.6-liter four-cylinder engine. They even let a young Vincenzo Lancia loose in one at the 1903 Paris-Madrid race. The 60 HP was also the first Fiat to boast a pressed steel chassis, cutting-edge stuff back then. Sadly, only 86 of these magnificent machines were ever built. Now forget your fancy racing cars and limited production specials. The 1912 Fiat Zero was where the real revolution began. Over 2,000 of these little runabouts rolled off the production line in Turin, most in a practical 4-seat configuration. Under the bonnet, a 1.8-liter four-cylinder engine, good enough for a top speed of 80 kilometers per hour. Not exactly warp speed, but hey, you could now overtake the milk float with confidence. Chapter 4, 1931, Fiat 522, shifting gears. Available as a sedan, coupe, or convertible, the 522 was all about style and sophistication. It featured a fully synchronized 4-speed gearbox. Power came from a smooth 2.5-liter inline-6 engine. Chapter 5, 1935, Fiat 1500 aerodynamic ambitions. This is the 1935 Fiat 1500, a car ahead of its time. One of the first cars designed with a wind tunnel. It could slip through the air with grace. Under the bonnet, a 1.5-liter inline-6 engine. Not bad for a car that looks like it belongs in a museum. Chapter 6, 1950 Fiat 1400 post-war rebirth. The Second World War wasn't kind to the car industry, but from the ashes emerged the 1950 Fiat 1400. This was Fiat's first all-new post-war design, a landmark achievement. Gone was the old-fashioned separate chassis, replaced by a modern monocoque body. Available as a 4-door sedan or a stylish 2-door coupe or convertible, the 1400 was a breath of fresh air. After the war, everyone needed a bit of rugged practicality. Fiat obliged with the 1951 Campagnola, Italy's answer to the Jeep. Originally designed for the Italian Ministry of Defense, it quickly found favor with civilians. The Campagnola was as tough as a mountain goat and about as comfortable as a tractor. It had a production run of over 22 years, with over 40,000 units built. The 1950s were a time of boundless optimism, evident in car design. The 1954 Fiat Turbina concept was powered by a gas turbine engine, just like a fighter jet. This thing could theoretically hit a top speed of 260 kilometers per hour. Sadly, the Turbina never made it past the concept stage. Fuel economy was about as good as you'd expect from a jet engine on wheels, and it had a tendency to overheat. Forget your fancy SUVs and 7-seater behemoths. The 1956 Fiat 600 Multiplay was the original people carrier. Based on the humble Fiat 600, the Multiplay was a masterpiece of packaging. You could cram the entire family in this thing, plus the dog, the luggage, and probably a couple of chickens. And if you needed to transport something larger, the rear seats folded down to create a double bed. Chapter 10, 1957, Fiat Nuova 500, a tiny icon. The Fiat 500. Launched in 1957, the Nuova 500 was designed to be cheap, cheerful, and accessible to everyone. Powered by a tiny 0.5-liter two-cylinder engine that produced 15 horsepower. But that didn't matter, because the 500 was light, nimble, and full of character. Over 4 million of these little gems were produced, putting Italy on wheels. Chapter 11, 1961, Fiat 2300S Coupe, a touch of class. This is the 1961 Fiat 2300S Coupe, a car that oozed style and sophistication. Under the bonnet lurked a 2.3-liter inline-6 engine that produced 140 horsepower. That was enough to propel the 2300S Coupe to a top speed of 190 kilometers per hour. Sadly, the 2300S Coupe was a sales flop, expensive and exclusive. Chapter 12, 1965, Fiat 850 Coupe Small Car Big Style. The 1965 Fiat 850 Coupe was all about sharp handling, a rev-happy engine, and Italian good looks. Power came from a rear-mounted 0.8-liter four-cylinder engine that developed 47 horsepower. It wasn't exactly a rocket ship, but it was more fun to drive than a barrel of monkeys. The 850 Coupe was a huge success for Fiat, cementing the company's reputation for stylish and affordable sports cars. Chapter 13. The 1967 Fiat 125 was a family saloon designed to be practical, affordable, and a little bit dull. The 125 was a well-engineered car that was comfortable, spacious, and surprisingly good to drive. It was also very popular with taxi drivers, which tells you all you need to know about its reliability. Under the bonnet, a range of four-cylinder engines from a 1.3-liter to a 1.6-liter. Chapter 14. The 1968 Fiat 850 City Taxi designed by Pio Manzu was a radical departure from the norm. It was small, boxy, and had a sliding door for easy access. The 850 City Taxi was basically a precursor to the modern minivan. Sadly, it never made it past the concept stage, but its influence can still be seen today. Chapter 15. The 1969 Fiat 130 Saloon was Fiat's attempt to crack the executive car market. But the real star was the 1971 Fiat 130 Coupe, styled by Paolo Martin from Pininfarina. Under the bonnet, a 3.2-liter V6 engine that produced 165 horsepower. That was enough to propel the 130 Coupe to a top speed of 197 kilometers per hour. Not bad for a Fiat. The 1971 Fiat 128 Coupe was designed to appeal to the heart as much as the head. Based on the humble Fiat 128 Saloon, it was transformed into a stylish and sporty coupe. Power came from a 1.3-liter unit that produced 75 horsepower. The 128 Coupe was a huge success for Fiat, changing the public's perception of the brand. The 1972 Fiat 132 was designed to be all things to all people, available as a saloon, coupe, and station wagon. It was the first Fiat with new, more efficient engines. The 132 was a huge success, establishing Fiat in the European market. The 1970s was a time of great upheaval in the car industry. Fiat's answer was the X1/23 concept, a tiny electric city car unveiled at the 1974 Turin Motor Show. Designed by Gianpaolo Buono, it was as cute as a button. The X1/23 was powered by a single electric motor that drove the rear wheels. It had a range of around 70 kilometers, which wasn't bad for the time. Chapter 19. 1978. Fiat Strada, also known as the Ritmo, was designed to put Fiat back on the map. Available as a 3-door or 5-door hatchback, powered by a range of new, more efficient engines. It was also one of the first cars to be designed with aerodynamics in mind. The Strada, or Ritmo, was a huge success for Fiat, establishing the company as a major player in the European car market. Chapter 20. 1985. Fiat Croma was a large family car designed to compete with the likes of the Ford Granada and the Opel Rekord. Available as a 4-door saloon or a 5-door estate powered by a range of petrol and diesel engines. Designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro, it was stylish and spacious. The Croma was a success for Fiat, establishing the company as a major player in the European car market. Chapter 21. 1988, Fiat Tipo, built to last. Available as a 3-door or 5-door hatchback with petrol and diesel engines. Designed to be easy to build and maintain and very aerodynamic. A huge success for Fiat, establishing it in the European car market. One of the first cars built with recycled materials. Chapter 22. 1991, Fiat Cinquecento, a city slicker. The 1991 Fiat Cinquecento was a small city car designed to be cheap and cheerful. Available as a 3-door hatchback, powered by a range of small petrol engines. The Cinquecento was designed to be easy to drive and park, and it was also very fuel efficient. It was a huge success for Fiat, establishing the company as a major player in the European city car market. Chapter 23, 2005 Fiat Ultra Concept, the Hummer Killer. The 2005 Fiat Ultra Concept was a military-inspired off-roader, powered by a 3-liter turbo diesel engine that produced 182 horsepower. The Ultra was never put into production, but it showed that Fiat was not afraid to think outside the box. Well, there you have it. A whirlwind tour through 125 years of Fiat's greatest hits, near misses, and downright bonkers creations. From humble beginnings to global domination, Fiat's story is as twisty and unpredictable as an Italian mountain pass. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more automotive adventures. Until next time, ciao.